Hey there, welcome to my review of Five Nights at Freddy's, delivered in the sort of similar-ish style of the girl who pops up halfway through the film on the VHS tape that Mike, the lead character, plays. God, I'm bulldozing ahead, aren't I? Right, let's see. Five Nights at Freddy's, absolute fucking trash, but watchable trash. So it's more weird instead of scary. This it has to be the most tame of the another Blumhouse flicks that I've ever seen, and I was really surprised by the producing studio. Cuddly bears in a children's party den. I mean, it doesn't really matter how slanted their eyes become, signifying the evil intent. They just remain cute as hell, basically. So starting from the beginning, Five Nights at Freddy's opens with this sort of 8-bit classic computer game that sequence, and it's really vibrant. There's various characters in this pizza place, sort of bit, like dotting about, and so it's just fantastic. I was hungry. I was starving to jump back onto a Spectrum or an Atari after watching the opening bit. So they're shifting about the screen. I'm assuming I don't know. I've never played. I have looked it up, sadly. I YouTubed various bits of it recently, Five Nights at Freddy's. And I don't know if it's part of that or not. But yeah, there's this pumping sort of 90s, 80s, 90s music, and it's just lovely. It's like the old blocky Spectrum games, like I don't know, Treasure Island or Disco Dan or something. I used to love all that stuff. So yeah, the opening did it for me, but the film itself, excuse me, it's shit, basically. But like I say, it's watchable. So yeah, the positives, I think what won me over from the beginning, before I'd even seen the films, was the strange, colourful sort of the poster. It drew me. It was like a bunch of bears. So I remember when I was in Cineworld just before I saw it. Jesus, I need some water. So before I saw it, there was this massive poster on the wall, and it was like had these 4 bear things like lined up in front of the pizzeria. Massive neon sign, like displaying sort of Five Nights at Freddy's. And also I think the fact that 85% of this movie is set at night, it gives it a really richly creepy feel. So yeah, so I like that. I was lured in by the poster and went to see it. But yeah, I think the ridiculousness of the 4 bear things, taking on their own consciousness, I suppose it has to be appreciated, whether or not the game comes first. I guess it has to be appreciated by someone. I mean, yeah, it's just shocking, basically. Now, the set itself, it's like the cute decor of this kid's pizzeria. It's brilliant. It's really aesthetically pleasing and nicely done. It sort of oozes nostalgia, like 1990s, early 90s nostalgia, especially, as I mentioned at the start of this, the VHS tape that Mike finds and sticks in the player. It's got this, when he hits play, typical sort of squeaky 80s, 90s girl comes up, restaurant employee, and she's like, "Hey, welcome to Freddy Fazbender's." No, that's Michael Fassbender. Oh shit, Freddy Fazbear's. Welcome to Freddy Fazbear's pizza restaurant, or whatever it is. And yeah, where every day is a celebration, and it's just so, oh god, it's so tacky. I fucking loved it. It was just such a throwback to my childhood. It was just excellent. Josh Hutcherson, who basically leads the film as the security guard, he's nicely cast, I think. He's got the classic boyish, would probably play a game like this features. If that's not a bit odd to say, but he's well cast and he delivers nicely. The scenes that shift, so they shift between the grotty building with the dripping pipes and sort of murky hallways where Mike's working. Between that and his dream world when he falls asleep are really good. 1 second you've got like these slimy halls and deserted cobwebby restaurant. The next you're in this like pristine sort of wood where these sort of near paralyzed children are just sort of stood looking like totally, well, either miserable or psychotic. I can't really decide which ones. And yeah, he begins to unravel the mystery behind Freddy Fazbear's Pizza. God, I keep going to say Fazbender. Fuck's sake. So yeah, the scene shifts are nice. And like I say, the whole set of being in a kids' pizzeria with arcade games, and the whole plasticky, bright-coloured furniture, even the characters, the animatronics themselves, they're really like, yeah, I don't know, they're just like something off of like a BBC game show in the early 90s. What can I say? Everything about this is really authentic. Excellent stuff. So, the negatives of Five Nights at Freddy's would be the kills. So, like, let's face it, true horror and Blumhouse fans are sitting down to watch this with at least the slightest flicker of hope, of an anticipation as to how certain characters are going to meet their grisly ends. Do you know what I mean? The electrocution, force-fed pizza, like the girl from Nightmare on Elm Street years ago. It wasn't pizza, but she was at a dinner party, I think, where he's just shoving it and her face is getting bigger and bigger. It's horrible. Hugged to death by Freddy himself or Chica. I don't know. Anyway, the kills themselves are tame at best. There's nothing major going on with the bludgeoning of the kids who break in, of trespassers. Yeah, there's no meat in this whatsoever. In fact, it's the kind of film where it contains the kind of kill scenes where the camera pulls away at the last second, and you sort of see if it's a decapitation, it's audible, so you can hear what's happening, but all you actually get to see is like a silhouette of the person's legs sort of scissoring on the wall and like a round object going boom, like to the floor. Do you know what I mean? It's that kind of thing. So yeah, it's a cop out basically. You really don't see enough of the grit. The manipulator reveal at the end was a right fucking letdown. So one of the characters removes their heads, animatronic head, I think, and goes at Mike with all the gusto of a cheese addict in the middle of Sainsbury's spotting Cathedral City for half the price on sale. So the character removes the head, there's a human underneath. So the perpetrator is actually, blood and veins, not just fluff and fur. So yeah, he goes at the lead protagonist, like I say, with all the enthusiasm of a block of cheese being on sale. It's like, it's just, there's a juicy intent, but there's no urgency to it as such. I was left basically kicking back in the cinema seat thinking, right, was that it then? In addition, the climatic showdown isn't. Right. There's a note I've got here. The fort. Yeah, that's it. Right. Okay. So I think what you really have to take into account before watching Five Nights at Freddy's is it's surreal, ridiculous shite, basically. Enjoyable. nonetheless. But it's halfway through it. So Mike and Vanessa, they discover with minimum reactions, Jesus, that the Mike and Vanessa, so who plays like the local police officer, they find out that the mascots are actually conscious, and it's like, Abby. So the character of Abby, Mike's daughter, she introduces them. She's like, "Oh, hey, this is Freddy, Barney, Chica, what's it, Foxy, and the cupcake thing, whatever its name is." And so she introduces them. There's just this like sort of Mike and Vanessa, grown adults. There's this like uneasy sort of, "Hey, how you doing?" kind of thing. It's really weird, but I don't know if that was the intent of the director and producer. Do you know what I mean? It's like, when you see something that's like really surreal and you're like, is this supposed to be, or is it just overall badly produced? I couldn't work it out. Anyway, barreling forward, Abby introduces them to Freddy, Bonnie, Chica, and Foxy. All of a sudden, after they've done the uneasy, "Oh, hey, you're alive then, are you? Oh, great." After all that, they get on the floor and they rearrange like the pizzeria furniture into a massive fort. So the tables are uplifted, the chairs are put on top like Jenga, and like Abby, the mascots, Mike and Vanessa, they all just sort of lay. It's sort of portrayed like the way it's filmed. It's very artistic. People just like in a circle, or things in a circle, and it's just like, they're just sort of posed on the floor, staring up, as if they're on holiday. And sorry, I'm pausing here because I can't understand it. The more I'm talking about it, the more it's coming flooding back. How bizarre it was! Like, why? It just didn't make it. It did not make sense. So they all just like make a fort and just lay on the floor, and that's it. So it's basically like a couple of parents playing castle with their children. I was like, what the fuck? What is this happening in front of us? Blimey. So oh jeez, I'm squeaking now. Every time I start chatting like loads and loads, I go a bit snuffly. Sorry. The game, that's it. Yeah, because like I mentioned before, I did look this up on YouTube just out of interest, because I wanted to know, I wanted to see what actually happens. And on YouTube, there's some weirdo like in someone's basement somewhere playing an entire, I can't really fault it, to be fair, but playing an entire console game from start to finish with a little bit of narration. And I can't fault that, because I really enjoyed, actually, a couple of months back, I had Tomb Raider 2 from back in like 1999 on my widescreen in my lounge, and it was actually just so reminiscent. It was lovely. Anyway, the game, I looked it up on YouTube just out of intrigue. All I got for like a good 15 minutes was this like, I mean, if anyone can shed some light on this, I can't. Basically, all I got was an image of a desk with a ringing phone on it, like just a phone, and pictures all over the wall. So it's basically the security guard or an other staff room of Freddy Fazbender's Pizzeria. And the phone rings, and it's like, hey, I forgot to tell you, go to Asda and get the 75p bleach. That bleach knocks the shit out of the toilet. I'll call you again later on, and hopefully you can replace the toilet paper too. See you later. Enjoy. And it's like, so this man just rings up. He's obviously like the boss of the pizzeria or something. Well, it was shit, basically. I mean, I don't really know what the point of it is. What do you have to do in the actual game? Just sort of, because you can move the person like who was playing it was like moving the camera, and then the camera shifts, so you've got the CCTV above the stage with like Chica staring up with evil intent, and then it cuts to like the office again. Then you've like got oh hey yeah, I forgot to tell you the police officer will be round at 9, and make sure you don't swear at him because he'll punch you in the face. I mean, it's like I don't really I don't get it, basically. I really don't get it. So yeah, if anyone can shed some light on that, feel free. Right. Yeah, that's really all I had to say. Well, all I had to say. Fuck, quarter of an hour. Right, if Five Nights at Freddy's was trying to live up to an 80s PG style horror movie, it succeeded, basically, with golden flags, if that's even a phrase. There's absolutely nothing to be frightened of here. It's more of a bouncy, dark comedy that think Critters or Gremlins. So it's like that, razor sharp meanies sort of running around wanting to eat you, but they're cute as hell. You just want to hug them and obviously get your face torn off. I got that. Yeah, that was my main takeaway, basically, with Five Nights at Freddy's. It's a dark comedy. There's and as mentioned, the finale is, well, it's just shocking, basically. I mean, I wouldn't even throw that into a local amateur performance in a theatre around the corner. It just wasn't. It was nothing, basically. So yeah, Josh Hutcherson is great. He fits in well. You don't see him in a lot though, do you? Matthew Lillard. God, he's getting old, isn't he? Jesus, I just kept looking at him, thinking of him being like, oh God, like in the Scream films. Yeah, so you got him, Elizabeth Lale, Piper Rubio, who plays Abby. She's okay, but she's a little bit sort of EastEnders-ish at times. Yeah, but there's nothing to be frightened of. I got this kind of. In effect, I actually got a kind of watching it away feeling throughout this movie, because when you see like a movie if you're on holiday or something. So it's the type of film this is the type of film you'd catch whilst sort of fleetingly visiting a random part of the country or being on a flight. Do you know what I mean? I remember like I don't know, I saw like Small Soldiers years ago, and The Parent Trap, Lindsay Lohan. Those were the two very first things I ever saw on a flight. Irrelevant, but just had to get it out there. Yeah, so this film, you're in a different area, part of the country, or a different country. People are speaking in a different accent. Even Greg's seems different when you pop in to get a sausage roll. Your senses are sort of engulfed by this totally brand new atmosphere. And you've got a few hours to kill, so you pop to the cinema before your train leaves, and you just watch something, anything. And then that sort of, that strange atmosphere kind of attaches itself to you of where you are, and you associate it from then on with with the, oh, that's the York film, or oh, that's the Derby, that's a film I saw in Derby, isn't it? Yeah. Right. Okay, I'm banging on a little bit, but I get what I mean. So this is one of those. It's kind of one of like a time filler before a long coach journey, that you'd see in like Derby or Birmingham, something like that. The first Lord of the Rings film, actually, I saw at Star City in Birmingham, and it just, do you know what I mean? You just sort of the atmosphere that you experience attaches itself to the film you see. Right. Okay. I think I'm going to finish here because this really isn't interesting, is it? Is it? Don't know. Yeah, that was Five Nights at Freddy's. That was how it obviously left me feeling. They are the fluffy animals. I didn't really touch on them, the animatronics themselves, because there's really not a lot to talk about. They're just on stage holding instruments, and they just sort of like robotically move during like songs that start playing and stuff. So when the pizzeria lights up, and Abby stood in front of them, it's really sinister, like how they just start like playing saxophone, like a duck on a saxophone, for God's sake, and a fox on a banjo or something. It's utterly bonkers, and it's kind of shit, but it's watchable shit. So yeah, you've got Freddy, Bonnie, Chica, and Foxy, and the vicious little bastard of a cupcake just running riot in a movie that does not portray the characters' grisly ends very well at all. And I don't know if that was the intention, similar to how ridiculous most of the scenes are. Was that the point, that you don't see anything, that not a lot does happen? Don't know. Anyway, that was Five Nights at Freddy's. I would give it a go. If it starts on Netflix or Disney Plus, stick it on. Might as well.